All right, I should be live now. Just want to make sure. When I tweet this out. All right, yeah, we are. Cool. Go ahead and mute this on my end. Let me just get this tweet out, and then we can start talking about both these races, as today's going to be pretty fun or pretty frustrating. You're either going to be really happy by the time 5 o'clock comes around, or you're going to be really depressed. Like, there's like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Races. COTA, if you guys got any specific questions you want me to look at based on practice or just anything, let me know. Probably going to be here for an hour and 15 or somewhere around that, about 45 minutes on each race. We'll start with the truck series, then go to Xfinity and kind of bounce back and forth. 3 hours and 9 minutes until lock, so we got plenty of time to goof around and ask anything. Thank you guys for being here. I want to say that it's interesting because, like, Connor, as I still tweet this out, like, Connor wasn't on some sports books to win. I had a DM last night that I guess Fantasy Cruncher had the wrong grid. I know Pierce had the wrong grid earlier. Sabersim, I haven't checked within the last like 20 minutes, but earlier this morning they didn't even have Xfinity Series up yet, or so I'm very curious on what's going on just across the board at the moment. COTA. Let me just finish this, and then we will be all good to go. I see somebody was already mentioning a good old Marco Andretti. You know, dude, I don't know what the hell that guy is doing. Like, his family has more money than like anybody in the American motorsport industry, and like he's down. He's been running ARCA with like the ARCA teams, like their equipment. Like he's not even putting money into it. Like him running like fucking a lap down at Phoenix and ARCA was amazing. The fact that he's just in a Corey Roper car this week, like, what are we doing, Marco? Jesus, man, you need to check it for Andretti and get a damn check. Otherwise, you can end up like good old John and just like 6 feet under. Like, good Lord, what are we doing? So that's out. Okay, cool. So that's there. Let's go ahead and look at the truck series first. So this is where I'm at. I haven't done all my lines, doing 20 in both races. I mean, look, today's a fucking long day. I got up at like 6 o'clock to do everything earlier, or finish getting majority of my lines done. We have these races. Then we have F1 tonight at like midnight and stuff. So going to be a pretty late night for all of us. And I just got to keep making sure that I'm still pulling the Cup Series stuff because they're practicing right now. Where I'm at personally, I'm playing 100%. I'm playing 100% Ben Rhodes and moving on. That is my discussion on him. No reason to talk any further. He's 95. I think he fits into a lot of things. When we're looking at pure points based on place differential and finishing position, the fact that we pretty much have non-existent laps led, fast laps to even get in this, I'm playing 100% Ben and moving on. So I'm building with 5 people in my things. If Ben Rhodes, wrecks out or whatever, that's where I'm at. When we look at Connor, when we look at Corey, the 2 favorites to get laps and stuff, and I think it's going to be very difficult for one of these guys to not win the race. I don't know if playing both is viable. When I look at how I'm constructing lineups at the moment for the truck series, I am probably going to have 60% Connor just because he's 9,200. He's very easy to pay off. I mean, realistically, we need like 47 points for him to hit value, but there's a real chance he could just do that by holding on like to the top 3. He's going to get fast laps. He's going to get laps led. He's just here for the win, so we don't have to worry about Tricon screwing him over by keeping him out or anything like that. So Connor is perfectly fine by me. I do got to check one thing really fast. Give me a moment here. Just really fast. Just got to double check one thing before I continue to rant about Connor. Oh, he's in the 7. That's why I misspoke and said Tricon and not Spire. That's why I was like, that doesn't sound right when I said that out loud. But yet again, I mean, he's just here for the race. I'm not concerned about him at all. Corey is a secondary favorite to get laps led and fast laps. As I said, I think the viability of playing both of them is small. SMOL, very small. What I would do, and what I'm probably going to do, is I'll probably have 65% Connor, 60 to 65% Connor. I'm gonna do probably that'd be 12 lines. I'll probably do 2 with both Connor and Corey together. Um, and then I'm probably gonna have 4 with just Corey Heim in the lineup. Past that, we're chasing place differential. Like, there's no reason to truly like play a ton of guys up front in terms of up front being like your top 4 guys. Like Nicholas would be the only guy I'm interested in that regard, just because he's 8,900. But the main focus points of this race is clearly, Majeski, Christian Eckes, um, Ty Dillon, Matt Crafton, and then whatever guy you're using to fill out your lines. Personally, for me, that's Thad starting last. Excuse me. But getting to Timmy Hill, getting to Daniel Dye, Jack Wood, Lawless Allen, Parsons, um, like that's kind of how we're filling out the rest of the of lineups, in my opinion. In terms of like actual builds or like people that I'd want to focus on, as I said, I'm personally going to play quite a lot of Connor today. But let's take him off. The people that I want to focus on, and Raja and Ankrum, it would probably be these fellas here that I want to try and get a majority of. Like I want to do the best I can to get of the people highlighted here, including Ben Rhodes, because I'm already playing 100% of them. I want at least 3 to 4 of these people in every line that I'm using. In terms of value, as I said, I personally like Thad Moffitt, but when we're in the 5K range, it's very much, if we're paying up for a lot of people and you can't afford Thad, then you're playing Lawless Allen. If you have money left over and you either don't like Thad or you want to pay up slightly, you can very easily get Timmy Hill. You can very easily get Jack Wood. And you can very easily get Daniel Dye. Past that, I don't really foresee a reason to like pay up for like other people. Like not necessarily one-offs, but guys I'm going to have probably 10 to 20% of. Enfinger, Stuart Friesen, Dean Thompson, even Nicholas Sanchez. And the reason being is, yet again, if I'm only building truly with 5 spots in my lineups, once we get down the line, I'm doing a lot of either trying to get different in one position or like a 1v1 against the popular pivot. That's why like Friesen is the guy that I would probably want like 20% of, 25% of. And so on and so forth. But that's truly my approach for the truck series, and I don't really foresee a reason to drastically get different. Like even Marco at starting 28, I have Marco in some lines. I'm not expecting literally anything from him at all. Like he needs 35 to pay it off. I think there's a lot of people in this race. When you look at where people are scoring, not even 30, my bad. When we're looking at how many people are in the high 20s to low 30s, I'm going to indicate that by 33 points to 27 points. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have 13 drivers projected to score between 33 to 27 points today. And that's not including the clear, like, good plays of, like, everybody else I just mentioned. That's, like, the 33 to 27 is, like, some of the guys in this 5, 6, and 7K ranges and stuff who, if you're in the 5K, if you're 5K, you need 25. If you're 52, and so on and so forth. Like, you're getting right in that range of value. I don't think there's any necessarily, or I don't think there's a favorite value in this range. As I said, I'm personally going off of Thad just because I'd want the guy who starts last. Like, who cares? Past that, but there's quite a lot of people who are going to be scoring very, very similar today, and I would much rather, in terms of 1v1s and getting different, I would much rather spread out in the value, which is almost the opposite that I normally do at the intermediates and stuff. Typically, I like solidify the values that I want and then pivot up top. Whereas today, because I'm paying for roads, I want to have Eckes. I want to have Connor. I want to potentially have Corey Heim. I'm selecting guys up top that I want to be on. I'm going to spread out my value plays quite a lot today, probably between the entirety of the 5 and low 6K range. Like Matt Mills today just seems like a guy that I'd want 10, 15% of to get different, especially off of the Daniel Eye, especially off of the Thad Moffitt, and that construction getting to like $600. Matt Mills just makes sense to me. That's where I'm at. Anyway, when we look at the practice laps, excuse me, so what I did versus compared to NASCAR, like when you look at Connor's like averages based on his average rank on NASCAR's terms, you see that he's 24th and stuff, and you might be like, how is that possible? He's the fastest in the 5 lap, he's the fastest there. Well, for what NASCAR does, they remove the laps that he cuts the track. Which yet again, like today, if you're concerned about some guy cutting the track, whether it be in trucks, Xfinity, tomorrow for Cup, like whatever, like we can't project that. So like that's so important because if you cut the track, you got to do a pass through, then your day's over. But like I'm not having that even be involved in any projections at all. Like if that happens, it happens. So like that's for me, that falls under the category. Wow, that's so important to not cut the course. If you do cut the course, that lineup is dead. So like it's so important that it doesn't matter. So like I just left all the laps in. I'm not going to remove stuff, but we see that Connor is clearly uh, the second best guy. Like he's just stupid fast. But like yet again, when we're looking here and you see how everybody's breaking down, I mean, like it's pretty straightforward. Like I would say, like this is where like Andretti is like just kind of sad and depressing. Like that's incredible that you're that we're that bad. That's nuts. But majority of the people that we're chasing are pretty much the faster cars and stuff. And unlike Xfinity, truly, and Cup Series, we should see this field spread out more with less possibilities for people to like truly kill themselves unless we get like a late race restart on a green light checker or something. So I would assume that we're going to see a majority of the faster guys just move up through the field and very easily survive. And anyway, so that's kind of that. Let me go through what you guys are saying real fast, and I guess we can hop over and jump over to the Xfinity series and stuff. What's going on, Bronco? What's going on, Rick? What's going on, Nick? Yet again, with Marco, I'm going to have probably 15% of him. That's 3 of my 20 lines. If I'm playing anything less than that, I'm personally not. I have no interest in Marco Andretti. Yes, I'm talking about both. It says in the title, live, truck, and Xfinity Series at COTA, so I would be covering both. Thoughts on Lawless Allen when we're looking at where he is based on actually, let's go back here. So look at his practice laps, and we see that Lawless Allen falls right in at like 15th on average. And we see that where Lawless Allen is. So we're looking specifically at the 5K range. So when we're looking, let's clear these bad boys off. And yeah, I'll leave the 5 in there. So when we're looking at the 5K range of who is he directly working against here? Yes, he's at 51. If you're paying up, like I have no issue laying on him. But we're looking at how he's competing directly against the rest of the 5K range. And so when we look at Lawless Allen, straight up, I have him projected for 25 points today. So him at 51, that's a 4.9 value. And that is me giving Lawless Allen 19th today. But with that said, I think that's very much like everything goes right. He doesn't do anything. The Ream Brothers shit doesn't just fucking fall apart. When we look at him compared to the rest of the 5K range, outside of Brett Holmes and Spencer Boyd, like we're not playing Dale, we're not playing Mason Massey, realistically. In terms of all the other viable guys, Thad Moffitt, Timmy Hill, Jack Wood, Daniel Dye, I have Lawless Allen projected less than those guys. So if you have the money, in my opinion, I think you should try and pay up for Jack Wood, Daniel Dye, Timmy Hill, Thad Moffitt over Lawless Allen. That's just where I'm at. And that's my opinion. But yet again, the 5K range is where I'm personally going to spread my ownership to today, because I think with how yet again spread out and the true disconnect between how fast these cars are. And I didn't pull Q. Let's make sure this is still going. I didn't pull Q for a couple reasons. So in the past, when I've pulled qualifying laps from people and then had them integrated into this stuff or had them on another tab, The issue that I find is that, like, it's qualifying. Everybody's just, in Q trip. They're pushing, I mean, not Q trip, like, we don't really have Q trip anymore, but, like, everybody's pushing it to the extreme. We typically see those laps be faster than what they're realistically gonna run in the race, and it typically, um, moves either how fast they could potentially be, like, out of the way, and I think just looking at Q position, like, in general, where they're starting is good enough. Um, but when we're looking at where these guys are at in terms of, where the 5K range is, as I said, like, we're not playing Dale, we're not playing Mason Massey, we're not playing Boyd because these guys are slow. Moffitt didn't even run a lap, but when we look at, like, Timmy Hill, like, you know, we're looking at him compared, at least, his mid, uh, laps averaging, 88 miles an hour and stuff. Like, that's pretty feasible. That's pretty alright here. Clearly, Lawless was faster and stuff, in the short run. But I mean, Timmy Hill's right there, starting a little bit farther back. That's not bad. When we look at, um, Wood, like Jack Wood, yet again, when we look at where he's at exact, or at least in, and yet again, so a lot of this can be due to either people being in the way, first laps on the track, first cars on the track, really. But we're not seeing him really falter a ton. We're still averaging very similar, lap times here. When we look at, who's the other guy, when we're looking at, Daniel Dye, like, I'm perfectly fine with these guys maintain an actual consistent speed. Whereas we see, Lawless Allen is clearly faster right off the bat. Um, but I'm personally always concerned about the Regan brothers and their, um, equipment and stuff, and so that's kind of my take on the value and stuff for the truck series. Mm. So the Gray brothers, when we're building, and looking at the Gray boys, the two shades of gray, um, I think, gotta look. I will have probably, and I won't have them together. I will probably have a line for each of them in case they can finish top 3. Realistically, projection-wise, I don't see them working, despite the fact that they have pretty good speed. Like, I have Tanner Gray today for, 35 points. That's him finishing 8th. And I have Taylor for 33 points, and that's him finishing 7th. At least it should be 7th. Yeah, so, like, when we're looking at those projections, my answer would be no. But I did have some of my higher projected lines have, like, a Tanner Gray in them here and there, a Taylor Gray here and there. I personally don't like what you're having to do with those lineups, especially when you're looking at everybody else. Like, when we're looking at 78 and $7,500, okay, and we're paying up for Christian Eckes, we're paying up for Connor and or Corey, possibly Ty Majeski, Matt Crafton, Ty Dillon, Ben Rhodes. In order for you to get to 78 and 75, you have to build around them. Like, you're not just going to land on these two guys. And so in those lineups, regardless of what everybody does, your lineup is going to be dependent on what the Gray brother does. Like, if he does good, you might not even cash. If he does bad, that line's dead. And so when you look at it in terms of, like, the percentage that line actually works out, my answer would be no. But I am going to have them in, like, a 1-off or 2-off. But I have no confidence in those at all. Thank you very much, Pat, for the $20 super chat. I believe that's the first super chat I've had on this channel since I've come through. So thank you very much for being here, Pat. And the $20, $20. I do appreciate it. Also, I'm gonna have a shirt on tomorrow early. I meant to wear it today, but I totally forgot. We're not done. Still testing stuff out. Still testing quality stuff. But I'll have a pretty cool shirt on tomorrow morning. Thoughts on Garcia? Dude, man, I mean, like, for me, Garcia is going to be. Let's look at this together. So we'll look at practice laps. We'll look at Jake. I'm not concerned that he spun out in practice, but this is concerning. Very similar with, now Jake's done it before, but, like, same thing with, like, Lane Riggs. I'm just not playing Lane Riggs on his first ever. Why am I so far down there? I'm not playing Lane Riggs in his first ever road course ever. First time ever turning right, man. You know, I'm just not going to play somebody in that situation. So like Garcia, I'm probably just not going to play today. I just have no interest, and that's really my thoughts on Garcia. Thank you, Kanaz. I mean, I yap pretty fast anyway. Did you do 2 hours of homework on Lala Sam before making that? I mean, did I? Like, fuck, man. Like, geez Louise, man. It's fucking nuts, dude. It's nuts, man. This is a tough one, man. Or not even a tough one, but tough one past like I'm doing 20 lines. I can build like 14 that are like, all right, that's pretty cool. Last 6, like I'm just throwing shit at the wall. Like what like hope hey, maybe Corey and Connor both blow motors and then it just a pure like PD style of play. In my opinion, we're gonna have a lot of lines. I don't know, based on how, in terms of theory or game theory and construction here, I think this race has a higher likelihood of having a lower amount of duplications, mainly due to the value range. If you're concerned about duplications at all, I think this is gonna have less in general than the Xfinity Series race, but I'm not. At least I would lean towards that, even with everybody using Ben Rhodes. I think there's a real chance for less duplication in this race. So let's skedaddle on to the Xfinity Series, and we can jump back and forth and everything. We are 2 hours and 48 minutes until the Truck Series lock. I was going to say I might go live tonight for F1, but I really don't want to do that. That'd be pretty boring and unfortunate. How's that doing so far? Is it even going to fill so far? Sucks they keep lowering the F1 contest. Anyway, so let's go ahead and look at the Xfinity Series race. And so this one, my opinion, kind of weird that we're doing 42 laps for trucks and then we're doing 48 for Xfinity, whereas usually there's a bigger discrepancy between the amount of laps that we're doing. The reason why that is important is, and going back to my opinion of why I think this Xfinity Series race has a higher likelihood of having more duplicated lineups, is because you have more people with worse starting positions. Now, looking up top, who leads the laps, like truly who gives a shit? Like that's not important. Like, yes, it's important that you nail the guy, but like who's going to lead more? Shane, Larson, Ty Gibbs? Like clearly the favorite in that would be Shane, and then probably Larson and Gibbs, then possibly AJ and stuff. But like that's not the important part. Like whatever, that's your lap leader. The fact that we have Austin Hill, Jesse Love, Allgaier, Herbst, Nemechek, we have these. What is that? That's 4 guys that are projected to score very close, if not over value. Like Jesse Love and Riley Herbst are like just phenomenal plays. Like it is insane how good of a play both those two idiots are. So like in the first race, we have Ben Rhodes that I would consider that I would just go 100% on. In this one, I don't know if I'm going to go 100% on them, but I would assume that most people are going to play Herbst and Jesse Love in this situation, and then all the other great plays in this range, like Jones, who has been very consistently just finishing right here, but he he doesn't need that much to pay it off. We have quite a lot of good-ish drivers starting back the field that, like Ellis is starting last, Perkins is starting 36th, Haley Deegan's 35th. A lot of different values can come through. Then you have like good drivers in cars that we just can't play, like LeBay, who I would love to play, is in a Gase car. Like I'm just not playing Gase. I'm not playing Austin Green. I'm not playing Gallagher. I'm not playing Blaine Perkins. When we look at Brad, at min salary, in a car that's actually viable for Alpha Beta Prime Racing, him at 45 literally makes it to where you can play literally anybody and have enough salary to get there. The fact that we very rarely in this day and age of NASCAR on DraftKings that we very rarely have a min salary guy at $4,500 starting in the back that's actually competent. Like Brad is actually like he's not a smooth brain. He can score you like 22 points and still be fine, if you're paying up for a lot of these expensive guys up here. And so the Xfinity Series 1 is kind of less interesting because the true pool would be, that's not even including like Mayer and Gilliland and stuff. Like Mayer doesn't work unless he like wins and stuff, but like we can realistically see him like actually give a chance or give a shot to do that. Oops. Rip. Big rip. We'll throw Sam in there. We'll throw Love. Throw these big boys. So like between these guys highlighted, I'm going to try and get 3 to 4 of them in each line and then just play whatever values allow me to do that. I don't really have a value that I'm completely in love with in terms of where they're at. And that's not even including people like Anthony Alfredo starting in the back of the field. That's not even including somebody like Kyle Weatherman, who also projects to hit value pretty easily. That's not even including somebody like Ryan Sieg, who could very easily hit value. Same thing like Balicki, Jeb Burton. I don't know. Xfinity is very much, I'm going to focus on my guys up front and then play whatever value and fill out the lineup with whatever, just because yet again, when you're looking at projected points and people separated between really 4, so like from a projected standpoint from 31 DraftKings points to 27 DraftKings points, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 guys in that range that are all either at or near value. And so it's yet again, the value range in both these races, like anybody can work. That's why I'm more open to just chasing the expensive guys and landing on whatever values allow me to play those individual drivers. Stuff like that. When we look at the laps, we look at Weatherman. Yet again, when we're looking at average mile per hour, I don't really have an issue like trusting this fully, mainly because people didn't go. Let's hide this because people didn't, do the 5-lap runs and stuff. So I would just trust this speed here. And I believe this is including any lap over 85 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure. No, it can't be because it'd be including these. It might be over 83. Anyway, Weatherman. 28th fastest. But he started 32nd. We understand that Weatherman is competent in these cars. He knows what he's doing, especially when you look at everybody in front who have like very little experience in these cars. And I think we're going to have guys racing way over their heads here and pulling stupid stuff. Like Kyle Weatherman is about as safe as you can get today. I have no issues. And I'm trying to be very aggressive with the projections, and I think that's why I have so many people close to each other. Like I'm not giving Weatherman running away with the field either. I have him gaining 9 positions, so that is 9 PD spots. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's Weatherman getting 24th. Like that's not even insane. So I have no issue with Weatherman, and it might be including all these laps. If we just look at his other laps, this is 88.1. No, yeah, it is. So I'm not including. Probably under 82 average mile per hour. Anyway, I'm perfectly fine with Kyle Weatherman. And I'm being very aggressive with equipment in this race. As I said, I'm not interested in Alex Labay in the Gase car. I'm leaning towards equipment a lot in this, especially with the guys in the back of the field like Brad, with Poole. Like it's insane that Ty Dillon's in a JD Motorsports car. Like, you need to pack it up and go home, man. Like, Ty Dillon, smoke him if you got him, man, because this should not be happening. Like, are you disowned by your family? What is going on here, man? What is going on here? Can you play Ty, Shane, and Larson together? I would personally not play the 3 guys up top because yes, your raw points would be very good between those guys. Now, yet again, I have, um, like at least where I'm at. I think, yet again, unlike other intermediate tracks, based on my stuff, because sometimes I cap guys off at points or so on and so forth. Typically on road course, especially with this little amount of laps, I typically do trust my actual projected score to be very similar to what the true score is going to be. So my highest projected lineups are looking like right at like uh, the high like 250s, low 260s, high 250s, like 250, like right on the dot. So when I'm just looking at kind of what I have these guys projected for, between the three of them, I would have 147 points between those three. But when you're building that way, so that's Larson, Gibbs, Shane, leaves you $6,100 on average for your remaining guys. So we need to get at least, like 33-ish points from your remaining three guys in that range, in the 6K range or somewhere around that. You need like at least like 33 points between your remaining guys. And I don't know if you can get that. Um, Especially like we're most likely having to play a super cheap 5K guy. So you could go like Haley Deegan and or Brad Perez. But a lot of these projected drivers I have are like yet again like low or not low, like high 20s, and that's also not including that Larson, Gibbs, and SVG projections are not pulling from each other. Like realistically, you're not going to both have like when I'm looking at projections of like how I'm doing stuff. I gave laps led to Kyle, Shane, and Ty Gibbs. Realistically speaking, even if those three true like those we do realistically see those three lead, it's not going to be very even. There's a real chance like Shane leads like 28 laps, Kyle leads like 15 or 14, and then like Ty Gibbs leads two, and so also unless you're talking about Ty Dillon, which is just a completely different conversation, but um, based on them kind of cannibalizing each other, I think it's very unlikely that playing the top three starters in this race is viable and stuff. Oh, dude, I mean Creed is gonna like. I would love it if this is the race to like Creed just takes out Jesse Love. Like that'd be hilarious. I can't wait for Creed to like. Creed is in the middle of a midlife crisis at like 24. I mean, when we're looking at how fast Creed is, like the last thing you want to do is give Creed a fast car, man. Like you never want to give him this type of confidence because Creed is just gonna cut the S's, like and just say, "I'm not gonna fucking pit. I'm bringing a yellow out, so I don't have to pit. Hopefully, I can bring a yellow out and crash some other people, so I'm not starting last." I would guess that we see Creed run to an issue. I'm gonna guess like lap 32. Um, that's where I'm at. But he is the GOAT. Like show go Creed. I mean, man, wouldn't that be funny if this is the one he wins in? That'd be hilarious. Past that, I'm not playing Creed, but I do like the goofy thing. Thank God, dude. Thank Christ alive. I put this in Discord. Thank God that Partis didn't make the race. Do you know how much money I probably would have lost on Partis? Like, oh man, thank God, thank God, thank God that car messed up in practice because I think we would have all just like lost so much money on Partis there. Yeah, well, same thing with like Jones too. Like I think what happens is Jones 80. I think Jones, Jones will be doing all right. Creed will fall back to like 11 at some point. And then at the same spot where Brandon Jones spins out at the end of the race, he'll clip Creed and take them both out. In terms of lineup construction, what I'm really liking is oops, I move that here. What I'm really liking is just one of Larson and Shane and focusing the rest on place differential. And I think it's safe enough to do that. What I was gonna say is, especially with, like, Nemechek, tore off whatever he tore. It looked like a bunch of battery stuff, but I could be wrong, and I'm not concerned about them not fixing it. Also, shout out to Parker Kligerman just randomly posting last night, be like, "Well, boys, we were fast, ran into an issue in practice that we're gonna have to deal with in the race tomorrow, but hopefully we can do." Like, come on, brother, you're a reporter. Like, what are you talking about? What issue? What problems? Tell us what's going on, Parker. Um, but like the Nemechek stuff, I'm not concerned about them not getting it fixed. That doesn't concern me at all. But like Nemechek can realistically finish top 10. Herbst can do it. Jesse Love can do it. Um, there's a real chance that in a situation where SVG and or Larson, they don't run away with the race, and the way that the stage yellows might happen, they lose enough laps led to end up scoring. Let's kind of bump this down realistically. They end up scoring low 50s each or high 40s. Uh, Larson and SVG, that's what I'm saying. That all place differential might come through in this race. And I think there's a higher likelihood of that happening in this one than in the truck race. In the trucks, Connor and Corey are most likely going to realistically lead. Like, even if people are short pin and stuff, like, those guys are just so much faster in the field. Whereas, like, you have AJ, you have Gibbs, you have other guys who could potentially try and, shortcut the other dudes in the top four, and they kind of trade laps, and they all kind of score like mid 40s and stuff. There's a real chance like all place differential comes through in the Xfinity series today. So I would kind of lean into that outcome and probably 30% of my lineups, which is just 6, but that's kind of where I'm at, thinking and kind of hedging with my other lines of just focusing on like one lap leader right away with the field and stuff. And yeah, Nemechek is pretty cheap. I don't know. Past that, that's kind of where we're at for these two races. You know, it's really just where these guys finish and the place differential that these guys offer, man. Even people like Balicki, like Clements, like there's a lot of PD that can realistically, depend on the build, they can out. With that said, I also don't know if the optimals play today for Xfinity. It's 9,400. We're probably gonna have in terms of unique lineups that can actually win. Maybe like 7% of all lineups will not be duped that have a realistic chance of winning. So that's like 900 or 900. That's like 700, 600, somewhere around there. In terms of lineups that can win that will be duped, probably 25% of the contest will have that. So we're looking at like 35% of lineups that are going to compete. And the reason why I'm thinking about this is if the optimal lineup isn't played in Xfinity, what does that lineup look like? What needs to happen for that to be the case? And that outcome isn't like crazy. That's just these guys trading laps led up top. And the place differential coming through. I like so in terms of lineups with upside, I think that outcome has a higher chance of happening than usual for this. And that outcome would be like place differential stuff. So anyway, just long-winded speaking out loud and stuff. That's why I'm going to probably have 30% of my lineups built without a lap leader in this Xfinity Series race, to lean on that possibility of like not enough of those types of lineups being played, especially with how ownership has been recently this year. We've seen very, very heavy ownership and condensed ownership on people up front. I know this is a road course, but still, that's a bit concerning and stuff, or noteworthy, rather. But anyway, that's about where I'm at. We kind of got through that faster than I thought we would. About 40 minutes in. I can be here for the next 20ish minutes if we get questions past that. Truck Series slate locks. Still pulling stuff. Yeah, we're still pulling stuff. Truck contest locks in 2 hours and 30 minutes. We got plenty of time to deal with that. Do you guys have any other questions or any other things that we want to look at or go over past that? I don't really have anything. Oh, okay. Kind of as I kill time waiting for a response to that, we got Cruise versus the Battery Part 2. So I go out yesterday, I turn the key, fucking battery's dead again. Okay. So where I'm at is like, when I just put a new battery in that about 4 or 5 months ago. For all the OGs who know the story, put that battery in, and I'm sure as shit not taking that fucking thing out again right now, because I don't have my goddamn tools. But I shouldn't have a dead battery right now. So I either got a Parasite, what is it called? Parasite pull, like it's pull. I got something pulling too many volts when my truck is off. That I got to go through. I'll probably do that Monday. So I either got to figure that out, or my alternator is going out. So that is mechanicking with Cruise. Luckily, I know it's not the battery this time. So that's good. I don't have to get my shovel and try and get that motherfucker out of the vehicle this time. So that's on the docket for Monday. Yeah, I guess past that, I mean, that's really it. Kind of going back to where we'll be at later today at like 5 p.m. That's going to probably heavily dictate of how I play tomorrow. I'm doing 20 truck, 20 Xfinity, probably do 10 to 15 in F1. So, we'll see. So like if Ben Rhodes has a bad day, that's the Truck Series. It's a big old L. If Herbst has a bad day, that's probably going to be a lot of my Xfinity Series lines dead in the water. So anyway, past that, I think we about covered everything. I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you very much, Pat, for the $20 super chat. And past that, I hope everybody has a good day. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time, to talk Cup Series at COTA. And see you guys then. Best of luck in all your contests today, and F1 and everything else. Bye-bye.